All right, let me shut off the copyright-free music. It's been a while. Let's do this. Hey everybody, good morning. It's Saturday morning and it's been a little bit. I've been away on vacation. I've also been unable to stream, so we had a 2-week hiatus. I'm back. No guests today. We're going to be doing an old school little focus topic with me today. The topic is the state of gaming. And obviously, I am in no way, shape, or form the main voice for all gamers, but it's my opinion today and just a little bit of my thoughts about how the gaming industry is today, good and bad. A lot of bad, but there's some good, of course, and we'll get into that. But I did want to mention, hey, Reliving Retro, what's up? Good morning. Welcome to the Cafe BTW podcast. We have a bunch of guests coming in September. So this month, it's going to be a little bit more laxed with me because I have an event going on, which I'll talk about. Hey, Commodore Chronicles, good to see you as well. Yes, a lot of bad. We'll get into it. But I did want to mention at the top of the stream today that we are doing a little bit of a charity stream. I'm the gaming community director for Stand Up to Cancer, and we are running the Up to Us to Stand Up to Cancer event. So you'll see on my profile, there's a Tiltify goal or campaign, and it's in honor of, for me personally, my father, who I lost to cancer 2 years ago. It was called anaplastic thyroid cancer. This campaign, and every year I do this when I do my campaign in August, it goes to my dad. It's for Henry. His name was Henry. He's this big lug right here. Amazing dad. Big reason why I'm a big gamer today is because of this man. He didn't know or care about video games, but he purchased them for me and knew I loved them. So I miss my dad very much. And there's a donation link running in chat. I think if you do !donate, you could donate to Stand Up to Cancer to help not only in my charity stream, but also just helping cancer research because it's super vital to get in front of cancer. It affects so many people. It's unfortunately there's so many separations to cancer, whether it's a friend, a cousin, a family member, or yourself that have currently been affected by cancer. So this is a charity stream attached to my podcast today. So all donations are going directly to cancer research. You could check the link below. You'll see the Tiltify in my About Me. Also, you could donate directly. Every bit counts. $1, $5. And you could hit the link in chat. I believe Genzo has the donation link running. And any donations would mean the world to me because we're gonna be doing this as a little bit of a charity stream as well. So, hey Daniel, good to see you too, man. But even though I'm running the event and helping lead the event, it's important for me to be part of it as well. So this is my little charity stream in honor of my father. As we talk about pretty much the ups and downs of the gaming industry. So appreciate everyone. Any donations would mean, that much more. And obviously, even awareness is key. You don't have to donate, but just wanted to mention at the top of the stream. Again, it's !donate in chat, or you could check the Tiltify direct donation link below in my About Me, and you could donate directly there. And I think you could use any forms of payment and stuff like that. So appreciate it. Want to get that out of the way. Anything counts during the stream, so it really means a lot to me. And just supporting, a little bit of my dad there. Anyway, I just wanted to talk a little bit before we get into the topic at hand today. I want to talk about a few things with the retro collecting that I've noticed. I started collecting Game Gear recently, and you can see this is a nice picture. These are my actual photos of my Game Gear games that I've been buying. The reason I want to bring up Game Gear is because it's really interesting. As a retro collector, obviously, the market has exploded. There's a lot of expensive games out there, a lot of things you can't buy anymore because they're just way too far out of the price range. But I noticed Game Gear is dirt cheap. Like, you're talking games are ranging between $4 to $15, and some of them are great games. And I think the only game that I've kind of saw that is a little bit pricey is the Tales Adventure game for Game Gear, which is around $100. But, you know, I was running around the swap meet, and I'm like, damn, the Game Gear games are cheap. And that kind of makes me happy because I feel like everyone, you know, says everything's so expensive, but actually NES games are still pretty affordable out there. You could get some good NES games for good prices, but I've really noticed that, I don't know if it's just not a lot of people are looking at Game Gear as much, but man, it is affordable and I'm enjoying collecting them. I've already bought about 20 games because they're dirt cheap, and it's been cool. Yeah, and that's because not many of the collectors are collecting Game Gear, and I think that's cool. And hey, Mikey, welcome this morning. And I love collecting things that people aren't really focusing on. Like a couple of years ago, I started collecting the original Xbox, and now people are starting to really collect the original Xbox and the PS2. But really, if you're into handhelds and collecting retro games, the Game Gear is something to look at right now because they're dirt cheap. You see the Sonic game? Got it for $3. I think the Streets of Rage I got for $10. The Shinobi 2 and 1 I got in a package for $15. And we're talking about like chump change here. This is comparative to all the prices people are dropping on Sega Saturn games. Like, as you know, I collect, but like PlayStation 1 games are super pricey now. Like, things are just exploding. Dreamcast games are getting pricey now. But Game Gear is pretty dirt cheap, people. So just wanted to bring that up. I thought it was really interesting that I'm noticing it's been fun to collect Game Gear because it's cheap and affordable and doesn't burn your wallet. An LCD makes a Game Gear world better. Yeah, lots of people like to update their Game Gear. I have an original Game Gear that I bought on my birthday that I'm super stoked about. I got it for $60. Like, just, you know, that's not bad, you know, and I do plan to probably get a new LCD for it. Mikey says, my buddy cleaned up my Game Gear and it looks good, so I might look into it. Yeah, look into it, man. The games are cheap. I was at a retro swap, and the other thing is that not a lot of the retro sellers have them. It's like a cheap retro collecting market right now, but not a lot of people have Game Gear games. I went into Game Dude yesterday, which is a video game store here. They had like 5 Game Gear games, but I've noticed for a game that you don't, for a collectible that you don't see much at stores, they're still cheap. So it's kind of funny. It's like they're rare to see in shops, really. There's not a ton of them, but then again, they're cheap. So just wanted to mention that I'm really enjoying collecting the Game Gear, and I'm really, really loving kind of going back and experiencing the Game Gear because, believe it or not, I had a Lynx and a Game Boy back in the day, and I didn't really have a Game Gear. So it's kind of like my... it's kind of like what I've been wanting to experience myself with and spend more time. Biff, morning. Happy Saturday morning, my friend. What's up? How are you? Good to see you, Biff, my Canadian brother. I love seeing you. So I thought that this would be interesting. And remember, I am no way, shape, or form the voice of all gamers. I just want to give you my opinion on the state of gaming and what I've been noticing from not only being very connected to the space, working in the space. So a lot of my insights come from directly working with streamers and content creators that play video games, and myself that experience games. But before we get into the state of gaming, let's talk about the statistics of gaming today. Let's talk about some important things that have kind of scaled in the existence of video games, and we're going to talk about statistics. Can't talk. So, and this is all based on exploringtopics.com and following different resources to give me the statistics we need to look at. So the U.S. gaming market currently is worth $95.4 billion. So I'll repeat that. The U.S. gaming market is currently worth $95.4 billion. Cloudbase says, I've been collecting original Xbox games. Nice. Hey, tonight is my debut with the 365 Pro Wrestling. It's happening. Nice. You're speaking for every single gamer. That's how I'm viewing things. Thanks. It's virtually podcast. So the U.S. gaming market is worth almost $100 billion. Over 1/3 of the world's population are active gamers. China and the U.S. dominate the gaming market, Most U.S. games purchased are now made digitally, which we know. Global esports audiences are set to rise above 500 million in 2024. There will be 3 billion active gamers in 2023. 3 billion. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. What's up, Chronomax? It's been forever. Good to see you, my friend. Welcome back to the cafe, by the way. And as we talk about the state of gaming, like I said, just to reiterate, we're talking about statistics right now. We got to look at the statistics of the industry before we really start to dissect it and give our opinions. So China and the U.S. dominate the gaming markets. You can see in this chart here, China and the U.S. obviously dominate. Surprisingly, Japan sits third, which even though Japan is one of the biggest gaming cultures in the world, they are sitting in third when it comes to gaming markets and revenue. You could look a little deeper here. China has 49.25 billion in revenue with over 685 million players. The United States is 47.32 billion with over 191 million players, and Japan falling third again with 21.78 billion and 75.62 million. Fourth place, we have South Korea. Fifth is Germany. Sixth is the UK. Seventh is France, Canada, Italy, and finally at number 10, Brazil. Just to give you some perspective, Brazil is at 10. They have a revenue of 2.5 billion with 92.4 million people that play video games. These are big numbers. That's the cool part, is seeing how many people play video games around the world. The fact that in China alone, 685 or more million people play video games. And in America, it's quite lower, 191 million compared to China, which is really, really pretty interesting. Let's get into demographics. 79% of gamers in the U.S. are adults. 79%. You would think that kids obviously take up a lot of the market, but as we see here, it's mostly adults, which makes sense because, you know, as you become an adult, as a kid you play games, and as you become an adult, you might still play games. So you kind of fit into that genre no matter what happens. 3 in 5 gamers are male. The proportions of male to female gamers have remained largely unchanged in the last 15 years. Since 2006, female gamers have made up about 38% to 48% of all gaming, peaking in 2014. The current distribution of video game consumption by gender shows that only 41% of gamers are female. I don't want to say that only 41% are female. That's pretty high percentage. I mean, it's not the majority, but 41% is pretty big, so I don't know why they're saying it like that, but I think that's pretty big. So obviously another market for video games out there is mobile gaming, so we'll get into some mobile gaming stats. Mobile gaming is responsible for over half of the total of gaming revenue, so keep that in mind, that everything we play, half of it is consumed by the mobile market. The mobile gaming content market value in North America is estimated to surpass $25 billion. $25 billion. That is insane. That is insane. PUBG Mobile was the highest grossing mobile game in 2021. That's right. PUBG is huge in the mobile space. Players Unknown Battlegrounds, better known as PUBG, grossed $2 billion between now and 2021. The second highest grossing mobile game in 2021 is Honor of Kings, which I have no idea. I've never played. Hey, Tao. Hello from Italy. It's good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. I know you're in Italy. Mikey loves retro. I think it's even higher. I've been seeing more females in gaming community. Yeah, Mikey, it's these are statistics based on what I've found today. I don't know if it's higher. I think 41% is pretty large, believe it or not. I think the way they stress it here, it's not, but I think 41% is a lot of people. That's a good stake, in my opinion. Home gaming console statistics. So worldwide home gaming revenue has reached $49 billion in 2021. PC gaming has got $35 billion in revenue. Console is $49 billion, and then mobile is $90 billion. There are more than 100 million Xbox Live users worldwide. That's really interesting. PlayStation Plus users are set to reach 50 million. In 2020, yeah, that's a good point, Commodore. Yeah, I think it's more vocal and more outspoken. We're going to get to some things that are bad about that. But first, let's keep going through the statistics. So the Nintendo Switch has sold over 100 million units to date, which is incredible. I think it's even more than that. Free-to-play games generate over 70 billion market revenue per year. Free-to-play, 70. Gamers spend more money on in-game downloads and streamer support than on full games. Between February and March 2018, gamers spent an average of $36 on in-game downloads, $38 on streamer support per game, combined to the average of $49.14 on each full game release. Holy moly. Popular video game statistics. So Wii Sports is the best-selling game of all time by considerable margin. Whoa. That is insane. And this is just Nintendo games. Look at the Wii Sports, man. It's the best. Obviously, Wii Sports sold over 82 million units in 2006. Holy moly. The second highest rated selling Nintendo game of all time, Super Mario Bros., with 40 million units in 1985. Interesting to see that the second highest selling Nintendo game of all time is still from 1985. That's really cool. Mario Kart Deluxe is the Switch's best-selling game. So Mario Kart 8 Deluxe sold over 45 million in sales, with Animal Crossing in second. And that hit a big explosion in 2020 because everyone was playing Animal Crossing. I remember that. Let's see. Grand Theft Auto 5 is the most streamed video game on Twitch. So streaming trends show that Grand Theft Auto 5 was the most streamed game on Twitch as of November 2021, with over 20% more streams compared to the second place League of Legends. Despite being originally released in 2013, Grand Theft Auto 5 has experienced an enduring success, amassing 128 million hours per month. That's not like per year, that's per month, and I believe it. Holy moly, that's insane. Casual single-player games are most played type of video game worldwide. A 2021 survey found that casual single-player games were played by 87.9% of those surveyed, more than any other type game. Holy moly, man. These statistics are ridiculous. Global online gaming revenue now totals $18 billion. Global virtual VR gaming market is worth approximately only $6.26 billion, but that's growing and that's changing. They say by 2028, this figure is estimated to reach about $53 billion, which I believe. The more advancement in VR, the better. Mikey says, knew that GTA 5 is huge with the custom service for role-playing. Oh, it's exploded with that as well. Esports, annual global esports revenue, which isn't as impressive to me, is $1 billion. They're predicting that esports industry will raise approximately by $1 billion by 2024. I'm not really interested in a lot of the esports stuff, but it's cool. In conclusion on this article, that's all of our roundup to date on the industry stats for 2022. It's clear that the video game industry is going from strength to strength and shows no signs of slowing down. Considering how huge the industry already is, it's hard to imagine it's growing. It's not growing, with new platforms launched for the PS5 and new gaming technology like AR, VR going mainstream, with little doubt that the space will ever stop and will continue to grow, which is absolutely 100% true. Now, gaming culture is taking over what parents can do, which I thought it was funny. I found this article. Gaming culture is taking over what can parents do. What to know. Gaming culture is no longer owned by the introverts of the world, and younger generations are using it as their advantage. All kinds of people stuck at home during the pandemic last in 2020 discovered the joys of being part of the gaming community. Parents can keep kids safe in their communities by changing their own behaviors, becoming more involved in gaming. So they're saying their relationship. I don't know how much I really want to dig into this article too much, but I just thought it was interesting that they had this, and this is by LifeWire. Gaming culture is taking over and what parents can do. And that's interesting, like a little bit. I feel like today kids are born out of the womb with iPads, and parents distract their children by giving them iPads and just, here you go, kid, play iPad and play Roblox and forget about it. Biff says, just a thought, every time you say billions, put your pinky up in the corner of your mouth like Dr. Evil. I could, but I don't want to be that evil. Another thing to think about in the state of gaming is the unbelievable explosion of acquisitions. And it's very important to talk about acquisitionary content and what is happening in the landscape of gaming, because acquisitions are very much a part of the gaming industry today. And I'm going to talk about a few big ones. Take-Two Interactive acquired Zynga in January 10th of 2022. And these are all acquisitions this year. For $12.7 billion, Take-Two took over Zynga. Take-Two Interactive is best known for Grand Theft Auto franchise, but now it's armed with the mobile studio, things like Farmville, another major property, as bringing together exponential talent and blah, 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 blah. So they took over the famous mobile publisher Zynga for $12 billion. Then we have Savvy Gaming Group acquires ESL and Faceit for $1.5 billion. And they acquired ESL for $1.5 billion, the Modern Times Group and esports tournament platform, Faceit, for $5 billion. So that's more of an esports acquisitionary. Infinite Reality requires Rec Global, which for $470 million. Rec Global, I believe, is an esports entertainment holding company. The last two are the biggest. January 31st, 2022, obviously Sony acquired Bungie. And don't forget, Bungie was once under the umbrella of Microsoft. Then they left Microsoft, became their own publisher, and now Sony said, we're going to buy you and help you out, Bungie. And of course, the final largest acquisition, probably the biggest one, the most important one, the craziest one, is the Microsoft acquiring Activision Blizzard on January 18th of 2022, expected to close next year for $68 billion freaking dollars. Details: over 90% of Activision Blizzard shareholders voted to approve the proposed acquisition from Microsoft, which would be a record transaction in history. This is still a long road ahead. Obviously, they still have to get approvals through the Trade Commission. That is a lot of cash, a lot of shells, as they would say in Flintstone land. So that is just crazy, people. These are all acquisitions that happened this year. This isn't like over the last couple of years. This is 2022. Now, I do have to mention blockchain gaming. Now, Microsoft came out and said, and this is a big stigma right now, it's like NFTs in video games. You know, immediately people are backlashing NFTs. They want to hear NFTs a part of the industry, even though the gaming world has been dealing with digital assets way before cryptocurrency even started. We're talking about digital items you could buy in game, digital trading. That stuff has existed in gaming far beyond and before cryptocurrency. So that's one thing that's really interesting about the digital marketplace. And I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole on this stuff, but I think if I'm going to talk about the state of gaming, I have to talk about the NFT market and a little bit of stigma around it. Now, interesting enough, just recently, Minecraft came out and said no to NFTs and blockchain. Mojang Studios, the Microsoft-owned developer behind the widely popular game Minecraft, Wednesday came out and said NFTs and other blockchain products will not be supported by the studio or allowed in game. As a form of blockchain technology, non-fungible tokens will not be affiliated with Minecraft, which I thought was interesting. NFT is an immediate turn off. Still not sure what the hell an NFT is, and honestly, with all the stuff I'm hearing, I don't want it. Well, I'll give you a really short, brief explanation. An NFT stands for non-fungible token. And what an NFT is supposed to do is put value towards a digital item. So if you have a gun in game X, that gun will be on the blockchain, and the player that owns gun X can then send it to another player, player B, and they could send it through the blockchain with proof of ownership, meaning like, I, on a digital blockchain, Andy, own this gun, and I'm going to send it to this person. We'll say Mikey loves retro, and once that transaction gets through, that digital gun will now go to ownership in Mikey, and it'll be proven on a public ledger. It's literally just pretty much non-fungible token. Also directly means it's not like cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. There's a currency behind it, a blockchain technology, but you're using digital items to create value. So it's just creating blockchain technology and attaching it to a digital item. I could go down a rabbit hole, but is it good or bad for the industry? Not really sure. I think there's a lot of backlash right now. Is blockchain technology really cool? In my honest opinion, yes. And have we been trading digital items for a very long time? Yes. One thing we don't have the ability is when you buy digital items in a video game, you don't really own them. You have the privilege to own them. With an NFT, it's basically saying you actually own this item. You, sir, madam, own this on a digital ledger. So I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but I think it's important to talk about the turnoffs of this, the positivities, because there is another side to the NFT market where people do believe in it as well. But that's the gist of it, Mikey. That's the gist of it. I could go down a rabbit hole, but we're not going to stay on the NFT topic much longer. Let's go through a few other important things in the industry. Microtransactions, loot boxes, things that I personally do not enjoy, depending on how they're integrated into games. What are microtransactions? A microtransaction is a digital purchase that users can use within a game, unlocking special features or providing unique cosmetics, sometimes game-changing enhancements. That's one thing. Bonus purchases, things you get as a bonus when you buy a game, like you get the limited edition Madden 2023 and a poster of Madden, you get a football, all those bonuses that they give you as incentives. I'm not sure how much I love it, but I think collectors kind of like that stuff. XP boosters. A number of games now offer XP boosters to their players. The concept is simple. If you don't want to spend your time grinding, repeating activities to earn XP and level up, you could pay a small amount and level up quickly. Not a fan of that as well. Loot boxes, which we all know have kind of gone through a lot of ups and downs, and not a huge fan of loot boxes myself, but a loot box can be can take all the fun out of gaming. The concept of loot boxes leverages variable rate reinforcement, which explains the dopamine rush that people get when they receive unexpected rewards. And that's true. It's like gambling, folks. Playing games in this way is like gambling. Another thing to mention is character skins. Obviously, no, they don't affect the gameplay, and I don't have a problem with character skins. If they don't affect the gameplay and they're just aesthetics, I don't have a problem with people being able to buy a Deadpool skin for Fortnite or a Captain America skin. That's fine. I don't have problems with character skins at all. Mikey says, freaking hate those when they come up to the microtransaction, enhance the game, pay to win, play the games. I don't mind if it's cosmetic. Yeah, me too. I don't mind the cosmetics, but the other side of it, I do mind. Pay to unlock. Do not like that either. Limited use items, another problem I have with things. Pay for the plot progression. Why would you want to pay for plot progression? Why don't you just play the damn game? These are just making me sad. So obviously the state of gaming in this area is a mess. There's all kinds of microtransactions, pay to play. Why don't you just sell us the game and tell us how we're supposed to play the game? Instead, they're just raking cash hand over fists on us. Cloud Breather says, transactions kill Dead Space to me. It's why I only play one or two. Yeah, and that's what it does, right? That's what it does. So let's talk about some positives. The huge influence, and as you know, I'm a retro gamer, I'm a retro collector, I'm a retro enthusiast, I'm a supporter of the culture, and there's one thing that I love about the industry today is the influence of the retro gaming into pop culture more than ever. More than ever is nostalgia selling, and I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. If Nintendo wants to release mini consoles of their old consoles, Sega wants to release a mini Dreamcast, hint, hint, or a mini Saturn, by all means do, because what it does is it really gives forth, hey gamers, don't forget about the past, because the past is important. And not only that, we're seeing the explosion of video game movies where Sonic is absolutely unbelievable. And that's an influence from retro gaming, because Sonic is synonymous with the 90s. Sonic is synonymous with the first time I played the Genesis. Actually, I played Alter Beast the first time I played Genesis. But that said, you got awesome things that are all promoted and experienced from the retro community and all the pop culture that the retro community brings. And I love it. I love it. The market might be out of reach for collecting, but there's so many emulators out there. There's licensed emulators, which I personally like to support more than, bootlegs and emulators, but that's me. I'm not hating on people that use emulators and bootlegs. I just prefer to support the licensed emulators, which are supported by the actual manufacturers. You got the Switch now, you got Genesis games on there, you got Super Nintendo games on there. It's so important to the newer generations to play the older games, and I think that's a positive. I think the retro influence is a positive on the industry. and I love it. Sonic is a great, and Alter Beast is great too. Flashcards too. Yeah, I agree. I also want to say I've been a retro gaming creator for nearly 10 years. I started on Twitter a long time ago. I love Twitter. I love the community of Twitter. I think there's a lot of, believe it or not, for as toxic as Twitter is, the retro community is so positive and so supportive on Twitter. I cannot say it enough. And it goes to show you, we created a retro gaming community with the community feature on Twitter, and it has been unbelievable. We have over 1,500 members now, and everyone has been respectful, cool, sharing their pickups. I absolutely just want to say, as someone that's been on Twitter, I will say it with the passion in my eyes right now. It is one of the best retro gaming communities out there. I don't care about how people love the TikTok community. I love it too. And I love Instagram. I use it all the time, but Twitter has been the positive experience for me every single day. And that is one thing I will stand by. As toxic as Twitter can be, the retro community is one of the coolest out of all the communities. And that's a positive for gaming. Not as toxic as other social media apps. Twitter is not bad for retro. Mikey, I've been on it for a very long time. And the fact that I have a community myself on there, I've been proved time and time again how great it is. And to be honest with you, for all the times I post for the nearly, the nearly 25,000 tweets I've put out, and the 25,000 tweets I've put out in like the existence I've had it, I barely had anybody troll me. And that says a lot. And I really shout out to the Twitter retro community. You guys rock. I love you guys. And that's why I'm still there. And that's why I'm so supportive of it. All right, moving along, the state of gaming. Obviously, YouTube is also really cool because you've got so many cool retro gamers on YouTube, you know, whether it's My Life in Gaming or Classic Gaming Quarterly or Metal Jesus or the Angry Video Game Nerd who, you know, gets a lot of backlash on his newer content, but I still love the dude. You got the Digital Foundry does some really cool docu stuff. There's a lot of great positive content on YouTube when it comes to gaming, a lot of like history. So again, the retro pop culture into the modern era has been super positive to the industry. And I think it's only been great. And I can't say it enough. You can go to the Twitch retro category and you could see just all these awesome streamers playing retro games right now. And I think that the Twitch retro category is so underrated and ill appreciated. There are so many amazing streamers here. And I recommend, you know, jump on this category one day when you're bored. Check out some of the cool retro streamers that are just playing everything. Like I see Qbert here. I see Donkey Kong. I see us right here. I see a bunch of RPGs, Super Mario Brothers. I see a DS game here. All these wonderful retro creators that are just being positive. Because this is a positive experience. You know, we're not dealing with loot boxes or microtransactions or first-person shooter BS. You know, we're dealing with really cool, nostalgic vibes and feels, and I think that you get that from the retro streamers. So super positive on a positive note. And again, everyone, just want to remember to remind you that I am not the voice of gaming, but these are all my opinions. And another good thing is in-person events are coming back. I'm actually going first week of September to PAX West up in Seattle. I am so stoked to get back on the ground, meet people in the gaming industry, check out new indie games, check out all kinds of stuff because PAX is pretty cool. They got all these indie games set up and you can play all these new games that are coming out and it's really cool. Hey, what's up, G? Good to see you, man. Love seeing you in chat. Good to see you, man. Just talking about how I'm heading to some conventions. I know, G, you go to a ton of conventions. Hey, everyone, give it up for G. He's an awesome, awesome content creator. And just talking about awesome retro gaming content creators, G to the next level is awesome. So please check him out. Twitch retro is huge. I don't think it's overrated, but very saturated. Would like some more subcategories that make it easier to find retro interests that viewers would like to watch. Absolutely. And Biff, yeah, I'm going to be in Seattle first weekend of September. So if you want to come down and see me, man, I'll be down in Seattle. And I'm going to be attending PAX West. And then I'm going to TwitchCon in October. Already got all my tickets, my travel. I am so stoked to be there. I'll come down to Seattle, see you. Yeah, Biff, come on down, man. I'm going to be there from September 2nd to the 5th in Seattle. So I'm going to be visiting PAX West. So definitely let me know if you want to stop by and see me. They might even have tickets to the event still. Now, one important thing to talk about, which kind of irks me, good and bad, right, is remakes and remasters. I think there's a point where remakes and remasters make sense for certain things, but then there's a point when you're shoving it down our throat, and I'm just sick and tired of your remakes and your remasters. Like, I really miss the originality of the industry. Like, I get it. There's a lot of money to be made when you remastered all these classic games. Although, I do want to say that I do appreciate some remasters. I think that it makes sense for a certain amount of things. But like The Last of Us, where they said we're going to rebuild The Last of Us from the ground up. I'm like, how many times? I just beat the remaster on PS4, and now you want to remake it again? I mean, how many times do you have to shove The Last of Us down my throat? Just keep making new ones. I mean, they made The Last of Us 2, but like, I am sick. I'm sorry. I just don't agree with The Last of Us side of it. I please, just stop it. Stop making Last of Us remakes. We don't care. We've played the game. It's one of the greatest games ever made. Like, fine. Don't shove it down our throats. My God, I'm so over it. And sorry, I'm just passionate about this Last of Us thing, man. I'm like so fed up with remakes, remasters. Like, give us new content. So I'm sorry I'm getting so angry, but if I could tell all the publishers and developers out there, look, was the Wind Waker remake for the Wii U really cool? Yeah, it was awesome. Are some Nintendo remakes really awesome? Do we want to see some remasters? Sure. But where's your originality, people? Where's the new stuff? I'm sick and tired of having to go play old games myself. I don't need a remaster. I'm going to go play it myself. I'll play the old game. Where's the originality, gaming? Aside from independent games and stuff like that, where are the original new AAA games I want? Please. G says, then again, I'm burned out with games like that. I wouldn't even call it a go, to be honest. Oh, and change us again the price plan. It's free on PSN. Well, I'm just fed up. It's like the movie industry. We're getting remakes. Here's a good example. Do you know they remade a Point Break movie and it completely bombed and was horrible? I'm like, why on earth would you remake Point Break, one of the greatest 90s movies with Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze? Like, why in the hell would you remake that movie? What's the point? So now you're coming to gaming and you're going to do the same thing you do in gaming and just remake these things that we don't really want remade? Ugh. I could go down a rabbit hole, but I mean, if we're going to talk the state of gaming, then we're going to talk about that. Then again, Clone, I need a remaster. Yeah, no, there are some remasters, but I'm just saying there's some that really drive me crazy. Now, another state of gaming that is really pissing me off is swatting. And that is when a streamer gets swatted at their home where some viewer figures out where your address is. They call the cops, and the cops show up at your house because they think that you're either, have guns in your house, you have bad things. And recently, this Twitch streamer was arrested in her house for it. I'm going to play her video. Let me know if you hear this, but this is her telling us what happened to her.
I was woken up by London. On August 5th, I was woken up by London police services pointing an assault rifle in my face at my home. I was told later that at 6 a.m. that morning, an email impersonating me was sent to every city councillor in the city of London, Ontario, stating that I have an illegal firearm, that I killed my mother, and that I plan to...
Can you believe that someone swatted this poor streamer and said that she killed her mother and that she had guns in her house? What kind of sick, twisted person wants to do that to a wonderful streamer? Unbelievable. The toxicity around swatting is unbelievable. I mean, God forbid it ever happens to me. I hope the hell not. But like, why? Why do people do these things? It hurts me so much. I'm like so pissed off about swatting. And we can't talk about the state of gaming unless we talk about swatting. It's so important to keep privacy when it comes to be a content creator, especially when it comes to streaming. I'm sorry, it's sad that a lot of this conversation is me being angry, because you know how much I love this industry. You know how much I care about people. And it just hurts me when people are toxic and yeah. Another thing to note is Grand Theft Auto 6 announced, or Rockstar said, Grand Theft Auto 6 will have a female protagonist in the new game, which I think is impactful, important, and awesome. Yet we are definitely going to be afraid of toxic masculinity ruining the impact of that. You know what's going to happen. It happens in Star Wars with all the racial stuff around the actress in Obi-Wan, the bullshit around that person and that actress. Now you're going to tell me that Rockstar is going to come out with a female protagonist, and you know that toxic masculinity is going to come in and ruin things. I am not going to stand for that. It's not anger, Andy. It's passion. Thanks. I am very passionate about this stuff because, you know, I'm very anti-toxicity. I believe in everything. I don't look at people. I look at people as human beings. We're all in this together. We only live once, so you might as well be nice to people, right? Oh, man. Anyway. Let's talk about the benefits of video games, okay? Let's talk about some positives, okay, right now. Video games can improve manual dexterity. Controller-based games can be great for your hands. In a study involving a group of surgeons, researchers found that those who played video games were faster at performing advanced procedures and 37% fewer mistakes than those who didn't. Video games can increase your brain's gray matter. Gaming is really a workout of your mind and disguised as fun. Studies have shown that playing video games regularly may increase your matter in your brain that boosts brain connectivity. Gamers may have better social skills. Absolutely. Introverts end up being able to have social skills by talking to gamers, playing with gamers. Games can teach you to be a better problem solver. Absolutely. You can become more physically active as a gamer. I think so. Video games can improve your vision, can they? As long as you're not staring at a screen for 10 hours straight, playing video games can actually make better vision in one study. 10 male students who were not gamers were trained for 30 hours in first-person action games, then tested against 10 non-gamers. The students who played were able to see objects more clearly in cluttered spaces because of improved spatial resolution. People take to pop culture and invest in it way too seriously. Video games they're fun and a way to get tricked into learning. Video games can inspire you to be more persistent. With video games, you either win or you keep trying, learning from your mistakes as you progress until you reach your goal. Because of this, some researchers and educators argue that video games could teach people to be more confident to work together their goals, treating each misstep as just another learning opportunity. Positives, right? These are things that gaming does on a positive way, and that's important too. I always say it's just video games. That's funny, yeah. It is. And also, don't forget that the gaming industry has a lot of things coming that could be really positive. What is the future of gaming? You know, obviously, we have the advancement of VR and really cool social interactive games, really cool VR games, really immersive stuff. I love the immersion of augmented reality as well. I'm excited for that. Artificial intelligence, where it could be pretty scary. There's some really cool things that artificial intelligence is going to do for games and make your experience a lot better. Cloud gaming, which I'm looking forward to. I think that's great. I think being able to cross-save across anything, like you could play your game on your console, on your PC, on your mobile phone, save across that. I think cloud gaming makes a lot of sense. I'm excited to see what Xbox is doing around cloud gaming. I think they're going to be the leaders in it. On a positive note, I overperformed at my job, and I do in order to get bonuses to pay for games. I love that. Graphics are increasing. The metaverse has some positives. So before we close out today, I know we're coming toward an end, and this has been a really intense episode because it's not been a lot retro focused. Obviously, there's been retro topics, but really wanted to give a nice look at the industry, the state of the industry today. But I did put a question out to people on Twitter, like I always do. I said, what do you think of the current culture around video games? Daddy Who Games said AAA studios in it for the money, indie studios in it for the love. Streamers and their communities have turned it into a toxic wasteland who can ratio smaller guy the most, and the streamer with the most games on their shelves wins. E. Starlin says, I think it's what you make of it. I try not to be a critic, but I don't play games looking for things to dislike. I don't want to have fun and get lost in them. Games are for having fun, and usually they are fun if you block out the noise. I think people want to, and I feel they need to have an opinion on everything, and usually the way they see that expressed on forums and on YouTube is a way that is hypercritical and comparative, and it's morphed into this strange cynicism. Games are fun, just have fun. Nacho says, there are some pretty valid nits and picks that I have as far as things like microtransactions, development crunch, unfinished games being released, etc. But overall, I think it's a really exciting time for the industry, and as far as quality and devs being allowed to innovate and take risks. Terraform Studio says, seems less about gaming and more about streamers and simps giving money to soft-core porn stars who don't even know they exist. Gaming is becoming more of a backdrop. I don't know. It's weird, says Gray Pretty Dumb. Some of the circles I'm in are going through some turbulent times. Others are fine. Overall, I just hope things will smooth out. Mike says cloud gaming and saves. Oh, yep. I'm going to keep reading some more. Tarnished says AAA toxic. Indies are wonderful. Retro always wonderful, but with some very problematic individuals that thankfully don't outshine majority of wonderful content creators. Aggie says, it's pretty widespread. You have the kids just now getting into gaming with the current gen. You have 20 to 30-year-olds getting nostalgic for the sixth generation. And then you have then the forever retro diehards that couldn't imagine connecting to the internet for video games. I'm definitely nostalgic for PS2. You might need to widen your age gap, though, to include people past 30. These are great. These are great. And thanks to everyone that contributed to the tweet. Really means a lot. Man, woo, what an episode. And we've neared close to an hour here. I think this was very important for me. I mean, I really wanted to do this because I've been kind of talking to a lot of people about the industry and what's happening. So I hope that this has been informative. Remember, I am not the voice of gaming. I just wanted to talk and experience what's happening with you, my audience. And I really hope that you've all learned a little bit today. I know I got a little bit angry, but I think it's just like Mikey said, it's passion. Because I love this industry so much. You know, I was born in 1981. I grew up playing the 2600. I grew up playing everything through the generations. I was very lucky to live through that generation. I'm a kid of the 80s. I went to high school in the 90s. And I miss a lot of that stuff. You know, life's too short, and video games are one of the most important parts of my life. And I've met so many amazing people playing video games. I met so many amazing people streaming. So many amazing people by working with Stand Up to Cancer and the things I do there. There's a lot of positives left out there. Obviously, toxicity is something we're going to combat for the rest of our lives when it comes to gaming, unfortunately. Will it get better? I sure hope so. And I hope that you guys enjoyed this one. And I want to say a big thank you. Some of these comments, but I get it. Yep. I want to thank everyone for not only being a part of my podcast, and I hope that it brings you joy. I hope that you enjoy what I do, because I'm just giving back by doing this podcast. I don't do this for money. Not that I make any money doing it. I do this out of pretty much the love that I have for gaming. Podcasting for me is a way to stay creative. It's a way to stay connected, and I just love doing it. And I love talking about games. So I hope you know that everything I talked about today leads to this one thing, and it's that I love video games, and I love you all. So I want to thank you all for stopping by. That's pretty much going to be the end of it today. We are going to be coming back with 4 guests this September. So we're going to have 4 more guests coming in September. But right now, this month, we're going to be doing some deep dive retrospectives. And I think my next episode next week, we're going to be doing a deep dive into the Game Gear, officially putting effort into a whole episode around the Game Gear. As you know, I'm Andy. This is the Cafe BTW podcast, a morning gaming podcast. We're here every Saturday morning from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. PST on the East Coast. If it's a little bit better for the East Coasters, but if you're on the West Coast, you got to wake up early. But remember, we are on YouTube. All the VODs are there. So I want to say thanks to everyone on VOD that didn't catch the live, and I want to thank the people that catch the live very much. Thank you so much for stopping by. Shout out to everyone in chat. And remember, we only get one shot at this, so you might as well be nice to people. All right, everyone. We'll see you all soon. Have a great weekend. Have a great rest of the week as well. We'll see you next Saturday. I'm Andy. See you next time.